What I started to do instead was energetic hygiene or spiritual hygiene, meaning I chose to keep my energy open because that's what actually felt the most natural and the most relaxed. Keeping my energy open, yet allowing for energies inside of that to come and go, yet taking time to cleanse my energy. Welcome to the Seeing in the Dark podcast, the podcast for new ways of leading and doing business. No more separation between money, power, and leadership, and being a deeply spiritual human being. Seeing in the Dark is about walking paths that have not been walked before and truly making a change in a world in which old ways are crumbling. My name is Nicole Costeres, CEO of a multiple six-figure soul-based business, and here to take you into the mysteries of purpose, power, intuition, and soul-based leadership. May you embody your own unique essence so deeply that your vibration naturally teaches, inspires, and assists others. Let's dive in. Welcome everyone to this week's episode where I am asking the number one question that women ask me: how do I protect my energy? It is also one of my most favorite questions to answer because I might have a slightly different answer than many people give. It's a topic that I have been struggling with, dancing with, I've been creative with it. I've been trying out many different things. And in today's episode, I will share with you my discoveries over the last 20 years or so. So how do I protect my energy is one of the questions that I receive a lot from women. Of course, in my work as a medium, but also in my temple spaces, in my retreats, it's a question that comes up a lot because the women that come into my spaces usually are women that have a sensitivity. They sense a lot what's happening in other people. They sense a lot life. They sense a lot in general. And so I know, and I remember, especially also when my development started, I could feel super overwhelmed by the things I was sensing and the things I was picking up on. So besides this episode, I also recommend to go in 2 other episodes. One is 3 ways to deal with emotions you pick up on, and the other one is, are you afraid of spirits? Those 2 I will link below this episode. I highly recommend to go through them as well if this is a topic that sparks your interest. So I just want to go back a little bit in time where I was a teenager. As a teenager, I was super sensitive to the things I was sensing, to the emotions I was picking up on. I mean, I think we all know how it can feel when you go into a secondhand store and you feel all those energies of the people that owns those things, and just a very, very sensitive teenager. But not only that, as a teenager, I was very much still full of my own stuff, meaning a lot of unhealed stuff, a lot of unhealed emotions, a lot of unresolved memories, a lot of unresolved charge that I was carrying around in my body, a lot of unresolved trauma also. So this combination of being very sensitive together with being full has it creates almost like a clogged system. So when we are still very full with emotions, with trauma, with unhealed things, and then on top of that, we feel all the things we are feeling, those energies can then not come and go, but they kind of come and stick around. Yeah. So it can give this feeling of overwhelm. It can give a feeling of feeling really, really full. It can give a feeling of like wanting to blame the outside world because there is energy vampires and people trying to take my energy and all those things. I say no, that is not what's happening. When things get stuck in your system, it is for you to have a look at it. Because what I found over the years, the more I started to heal myself, the more I started to unclog all the pipes of my energetic system, the more easily the things I was sensing could come and naturally go. So the more easily the things I was sensing would be sensed and then naturally be let go of again. And this is what I feel is our natural state. It is supernatural to feel other people's emotions. It is supernatural to feel life, right? We are in an age, in an era of transparency. You can see this in governments. I mean, you can see this in so many places. Like, things cannot stay hidden anymore. Yeah, so things are being revealed, like scandals in the government are naturally coming out. There is like things that have been secrets for centuries and centuries suddenly come to the foreground. We are in an age of transparency. Not only that, when you speak with someone and you ask them, how are you doing? And they say, oh, I'm doing really well, but actually they're not, we feel it. And as time and years pass, this will only amplify more and more and more. Why? Because we are intuitive beings. Our natural state is intuition. It's sensitivity. And this is normal. So I am not someone that stands for the highly sensitive movement. I'm saying, no, that's not something special when you're highly sensitive. I am saying, we all have this in our inherent nature. And this is actually our normal and natural state of being. So when someone comes to me and says, I have energy vampires, I have people that are trying to take my energy, my alarm bells goes off. And I am going to ask you these 3 questions. And these are 3 questions you can ask yourself if you sometimes find yourself overwhelmed by the things you pick up on and you feel like you need to shield or protect yourself. First one is, could it be because your own trauma is being hit? Your own pain is being hit? This sometimes happens to me still today. When I pick up on something from someone else and it sticks with me, it's usually my own trigger or trauma that is being touched, and it's up for me to have a look at that and see what is being triggered here and what is needed to bring more healing to this piece inside of me. Second one, where am I allowing my boundaries to be crossed? Instead of blaming the outside world and saying they are taking my energy, where are you invited to communicate your no more clearly, right? Because then you actually don't need to shield yourself and have all these techniques to protect your energy, but actually can just communicate a no to someone. So where are you allowing your boundaries to be crossed? Next question. Where are you taking on too much responsibility in your life? Where are you taking over responsibilities that are others and taking it on to you? Why am I asking this question? Because this is probably the biggest one for me. This has created the biggest breakthrough for me because since childhood, I have this tendency in me to take on responsibilities that are not mine, to take on responsibilities from others. And energetically, literally what you're doing is you're like dragging stuff towards you that is not yours to carry. So what it does energetically also is you're taking energy on from others that is not yours to carry. Yeah. So when you start to become clear on where am I potentially taking on responsibilities that are not mine to take on, how can you start to give those responsibilities back to the people you love? Those are usually the ones where it's the most difficult to give it back. And once you give those responsibilities back to others, usually what you will find is a grief, because then you realize you cannot help these people. These people can only help themselves. These people are guided by their own higher self. They have an inner guidance, even if you don't agree with it, even if they don't listen to it the way you would like to, they are guided by life and a deeper intelligence as well. And they have a right to choose their own path. And often when we would fully accept that, what I noticed is there is a grief that I was avoiding through taking on too much responsibility from the other. So allowing yourself to grieve what you're now covering up by taking on too much responsibility can create a huge shift in how you experience the amount of energy that you pick up on and it sticks with you. Next one is, Where do you feel unsafe in yourself? And therefore you have these antennas that are constantly scanning the room. Yeah, so I remember that this big breakthrough actually came when I was in an osteopathy session. And I told my osteopath, I said, yeah, I'm a sponge. I just pick up on so much energy from others and I just sponge it in. And then she was like, I don't think you are sponging. I think you are actually the one reaching out with your antennas and scanning everyone. And I took a moment to breathe and feel and reflect. And I was like, you know what? You're actually right. I am the one scanning people. I am the one reaching out with my energy to see if I'm still safe, to see if everything is still okay, to see if the other is still okay, to make sure that everyone is okay. Yeah. So what I found underneath that is not fully feeling safe in my own body and in life, not fully feeling like I can breathe out in who I am and where I'm at. Yeah. So finding ways to cultivate more safety within your own body will help you so much in this topic of picking up on things around you and them staying stuck with you. So to reflect back again on when I was a teenager, I was doing all these things that would create me feeling so full with other people's energy all the time. One, I was at the beginning of my healing journey. I was full with my own stuff, and therefore there was not a lot of space to feel the stuff of others as well on top of that. Two, I was taking on too much responsibility from others, and therefore I was filling myself up subconsciously, unconsciously at that time, filling myself up with the energies of others by choice in a way, not a conscious choice, but in a way by choice. I was feeling unsafe within myself, and therefore I had my antenna scanning the room and taking on even more energies of others. And I was also I was not really good in communicating my boundaries. So I remember doing things that I actually didn't feel a yes for, but I was doing it to make sure that others were feeling okay, or that others were feeling seen, or that others were feeling supported. So in that time as a teenager, when I was doing all of the things I was naming, energetic protection actually did serve me. Why? Because I didn't know yet how to stay open with my energy. I didn't really have the space to let energy come and go. So energetic protection in a case like that can be beautiful. I will name with you a few ways on how you can energetically protect yourself in the sense of shielding yourself. For me, what helped me the most in that time was a cream of the brand Weleda. I'm not sure if it still exists. I will make sure to write it below this episode. It's called Argentum Metallicum. And this was a cream that had a little bit of metal in it. And I would rub it on my solar plexus because that is a space where a lot of energy from others comes in. So I would rub it in circles on my solar plexus and imagine how it would close my solar plexus so that no energy could come in anymore. And because of the little bit of metal that was inside of it, it would actually reflect the energy back that was coming towards me. And that helped me a lot in that time. If this cream doesn't exist anymore, there are different rollers of these things that you can roll on your solar plexus that actually create a certain shielding on the body for energy to be reflected back. So there's protection rollers, protection oils, and things like that. Another way that also helped me a lot was to imagine that the cells of my body have mirrors around them and that my skin has a mirror around it, and that every time when energy would come towards me, it would reflect back to the one it belongs to. Those are some simple ways of how I did use at some point in my life energetic protection. However, I started to notice the more I started to heal myself, I started to recognize that our inherent intuitive nature is intuition. It's openness, it's receptivity, it's normal to feel life in each other. And the more I started to feel that, the more protection started to feel limiting. in the sense that I noticed that energetic protection started to cost me energy. It started to cost me effort to make sure that I'm protected, to make sure that nobody is taking my energy, to make sure that la 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 la. It started to become exhausting, to be very honest. It started to become exhausting. And I also started to see how I was giving away a responsibility that was actually mine. Because through healing my own things, through making space for energies to come and then naturally go again, to learning to communicate my no, to cultivate more safety within myself, this is how naturally I didn't feel the need to protect myself anymore. And I chose to stop those practices. What I started to do instead was energetic hygiene or spiritual hygiene, meaning I chose to keep my energy open because that's what actually felt the most natural and the most relaxed. Keeping my energy open, yet allowing for energies inside of that to come and go, yet taking time to cleanse my energy. So energetic hygiene means staying open and receptive to feel life, to feel each other, while you take time to regularly cleanse your energy. Hi there. Just a short break from the episode to let you know that 23rd of July in Amsterdam, in a beautiful big cathedral, we come together with an amazing group of women for a one-day temple journey. A temple journey into the dark feminine. The dark feminine is an archetype that lives within all of us, and it's an archetype that has been rejected by society. It's the wild woman, the witch, the untamed part of ourselves, the part of ourselves that helps us in our full expression, in our wildness, in our roar, in our freedom, in our sensuality. The dark feminine is not a woman, but she's an archetypal energy that holds the primordial wisdom, the deep feminine wisdom of the body, the deep feminine wisdom of the womb, the deep feminine wisdom of stillness, of darkness. Darkness not in the sense of evil, but darkness in the sense of the lower centers of our body, the lower physical centers of our body, but also the earth, the darkness of the earth, of the ground. The dark feminine is an archetype that will help you with unhiding yourself. She is the archetype to visit if you want to unhide more of who you are. Show up in the world from your truth, your authenticity, and the truth that you can speak. The dark feminine is an archetype, if I can describe her in 2 words, freedom and liberation. And in this one-day temple journey, me, together with my dear friend and sister in the work, Winter Jade Isley, guide you into getting to know this archetype within yourself, getting to love and welcome this archetype within yourself, because we don't necessarily live in a world where our dark feminine is fully welcomed. So this day is an initiation into this archetype, initiation into freedom, liberation, free expression, and discovering yourself as the wild, untamed life itself. So, link is below this episode. We warmly welcome you into this day that includes a beautiful lunch and a full day temple journey, a day with the dark feminine in Amsterdam. Now, back to the episode. I have 8 ways in which you can practice spiritual hygiene or energetic hygiene. 8 ways on how you can keep your energy open while you cleanse your energy for anything that maybe still gets a bit stuck, or just to refresh and reset your energy. Yeah. It's like how you, at the beginning or at the end of the day or both, take a shower and cleanse your body physically. This is the same. You take care of your energy and you give your energy a shower. So 8 ways to stay open and cleanse your energy. Number 1, this is the easiest that I do every single day, and it helps me to energetically cleanse my system. And that is showering. Super simple, but so powerful. Because every day when I am in the shower, I visualize that anything that doesn't belong to me, anything that is not mine, or anything that no longer serves me washes down from my body, from my energy down into the drain. So while I'm showering, I'm taking care of my energy, and I imagine how all of that goes down into the drain. Now, some moments where this is extra important for me is after I facilitated a training, if I had a very strong emotional day, if I went to a secondhand market. I love secondhand markets, but after I feel like, full. So then I love to take my shower and just like rinse it all down into the drain. Shower. Super simple. Second one is earthing or grounding, because the moment your bare feet touch the earth, you will be discharging anything you no longer need and anything that doesn't serve you. So it can be that you lay on the earth, but simply walking bare feet outside will also do that. So I live on the 14th floor in an apartment. So I ideally go down every day and walk a little bit barefoot here in the park, just so that I can discharge of any energy that I've picked up on during the day, or actually also like I'm working a lot in front of the computer. So we pick up also on radiation from our Wi-Fi, from our phones, and earthing and grounding is an amazing way to release those EMF, radiation, Wi-Fi, all those things. Yeah. So earthing and grounding outside, really, really good. Also there, imagining that anything you no longer need, anything that doesn't serve you goes down into the ground. If you're someone that doesn't live in nature like me, I also have a second way on how I do grounding. I have grounding sheets in the bed. That's how we sleep the most relaxed. So these are actually sheets that help you to discharge EMF radiation during the night. So in the night, everything switches off in our house. We don't have Wi-Fi. We don't have radiation in the house. So we switch everything off in the night. And then in the morning for work, it starts again. But then in the night with these sheets, it will actually help us to discharge those radiations from the day. Third one, ceremonial beds. This is one of my favorites, and also one of the things that we teach in our 4-week program, Rites of Passage, which is a 4-week initiation into rituals and ceremonies that create deep transformation in your personal and professional life. We are currently running the first group, really beautiful group, where we teach women how to create your own ceremonial beds. And one of them is for purification. These are herb-infused waters that you prepare with prayer and intention, and specific herbs that cleanse your energy in a very powerful way. So ceremonial baths is something that I will do, I would say maybe once a month, maybe sometimes more often, but I would say at least once a month, I give myself a herbal bath to cleanse my energy, to refresh my energy, to purify, to reset. And I love it because it's a moment of self-care. It's a moment of prayer, of devotion, of connection with my herbs, but also of spiritual hygiene. So ceremonial baths is a really beautiful way as well. Number 4, magnesium baths or Epsom salt baths. And I will also explain the difference between the two. Magnesium baths, what they do. So you basically fill up your bathtub, or if you don't have a bathtub, you can make a foot bath. And at least for 30 minutes, you stay in that with the magnesium flakes. What the magnesium does, and like when I need a good magnesium bath, I can put sometimes up to 0.5 kilo of magnesium in there to really give a good boost. But what it does, magnesium, it relaxes the muscles. When I feel very full energetically, there is a tension, sometimes a big tension, sometimes a slight tension in my muscles, because it's kind of like in an overwhelm or in slight contraction. What magnesium does, it helps to relax the muscles, and that will naturally also release. Epsom salt is slightly different. What Epsom salt does, it pulls toxins out of the body. So this has more of a detoxification. So Epsom salt, if you feel like, oh, I really want something more to energetically be pulled out of me, I would say take an Epsom salt bath. If you feel like, oh no, I really want to have relaxation and have my system breathe out and release in that way, it's magnesium. You can also combine them. Follow your intuition. Number 5. Here we're going to include also movement, shaking, and dancing. Shaking is one of my favorite practices. If you have been in a training with me, you know that most of the calls we start with a few minutes of shaking, moving, dancing. It's an amazing way to reset your energy because it will literally move and clear out anything that needs to be cleared out. Yeah. Because what energy sometimes does, it comes in and it kind of stays. Yeah. But then when you shake your body, it has a chance to move through. So shaking, moving, dancing, amazing way to practice energetic hygiene. Number 6 is breathing. Deep, full breaths in and out are an amazing way to cleanse your energy. So breathing in new, fresh aliveness, new energy, breathing out and releasing anything that no longer serves you. Breathing in fresh energy, new aliveness, breathing out and letting go of anything that no longer serves you. Amazing way for practicing energetic hygiene. Number 7, sounding. Sounding. Recently, I use it a lot. For me, this one comes and goes because I love singing. I love sounding. I have specifically a certain tension that my womb is working out at the moment. So what my womb at the moment really loves is that I give sounds to there. And sounds are vibration. And vibration gives it's almost like an energy that is trembling, like brrr, and it literally can vibrate and shake out energy that needs a little bit of support or parts of our body that need a little bit of support. So sounding with any part of your body or your whole body is an amazing way also to harmonize your energy, to support releases, to support your body in general. And then the final one, number 8, is touch. So what I love to do before bed is to give myself a self massage, just to relax my body, nourish my body, have a moment of connection and a moment to breathe out before I go to sleep. Now, hopefully these 8 ways to stay open and cleanse your energy can be of support for you. I recommend to follow your intuition. Maybe the protection ways, they do work for you and maybe they are very relevant for you at this point of your life. But the moment you start to notice that protection starts to become exhausting, or you start to protect yourself because there is a fear of fear itself. I see this so often. This is one more thing I want to go into before we close this week's episode. A 9.9 out of 10 times when someone comes to me and says there's entities attacking me, there is negative energies that are wanting something from me, 9.9 out of 10 times, this will be someone that has a fear of fear itself. Meaning, I believe that when there is an experience of an entity or an energy that wants something from us or that wants to attack us, that there is a deeper gift in that experience, that there is something that wants to be healed or revealed within. I have always found the gift in that so far. To give an example, and I will also give this in the episode more in depth, Are You Afraid of Spirits? I remember one person coming to me and he said, there is this entity trying to attack me. And it always makes me super curious. I'm always super fascinated by these experiences. So I tuned in with this person and he said, this energy is just attacking me. It wants to attack me. It wants to hurt me. And as we were unpacking it more deeply, turns out that a memory came up for this person about a family member attacking him as a child. And this memory wasn't fully resolved within himself. So the moment he started to go into therapy and started to work with this unresolved charge connected to this situation, the experience of the entity attacking him disappeared and completed itself. So I don't feel we need to protect ourselves from experiences of entities or negativity or things are like attacking us or wanting something from us. The invitation there is to listen and see, what are they trying to show me? What is the medicine or the gift in this experience? And I can 99% for sure guarantee you that the experience of attack will complete itself or get less and less and less and less the more this part heals within. Yeah. So often when I have someone coming to me and say, oh, I have an entity, I need to go to this healer then needs to remove the entity, and then I go about my day, and then another entity comes and again I need to go to the healer. What is often happening there is a fear of feeling fear, because that's what it does. Oh, they have an experience of an entity or an energy. It triggers a fear. And because of that, they need protection or they need healing or they need help. And then the fear doesn't have to be felt anymore because they get saved by the healer, so to speak. Yeah. And then the next experience comes in, and then again, the same loop. I've seen this so many times. My invitation would be to see, what if you could allow that experience? And what if you could be with the fear and fully feel the fear? Because on the other end of it, you will find liberation from that experience. That's at least my perspective. And that's how I work with the people that come to me with these questions. Final thing. Does this mean that I never work with protection anymore? And this is actually the case. I do still work with protection, but it is a very different intention. I still work with making protection oils. I still work with making protection ceremonial baths. But the reason I'm doing it now is often when I find myself in a space of liminality, in a space of in between. Meaning it can be in a big transformation process where I've been shedding something old, yet the new is not yet here. And I'm kind of in a phase of cocooning myself. Not cocooning myself because I need to protect myself from all these energies that come my way, but cocooning myself because I want to be within. I want to turn my gaze within. I want to be deeply with myself. And in those moments, I love a protection bath. I love a protection oil, because this is then more a cocooning that happens. Yeah. So you could also call it then cocooning instead of protection, but it is in a way a protection cocoon for me to turn inwards. Yeah. So this is the only way at the moment that I work with protection / cocooning. All right. Hopefully this episode could have inspired you or have you reflect on what works the best for you, whether it's shielding and protection, whether it's energetic hygiene, whether it's cocooning and protection. I hope that this episode can inspire you to take a moment and feel what feels true for you, what is supportive for you during this specific period of your life, and to start to implement the ways that were most resonating for you. Hopefully you have an answer now on how you can protect your energy. And with that, I wish you a beautiful week and look forward to see you again next week. Much love. Did you receive any inspiration, motivation, or powerful breakthroughs by listening to this episode? Then please share this episode by taking a screenshot and tagging me in your stories at nicole.nima.costeres. I would love to celebrate you, share you in my stories, and it would mean so much to have my work reach more powerful, passionate women like you. Thank you so much, and looking forward to see you next week.